In this week's episode, I'm going to take you on a deep dive inside Operator Connect, the Teams voice solution for anyone. If you're not looking to implement Teams voice yourself, or it's a little bit tricky, let's face it, then this is a session for you. I'm joined this week by Simon Verbiest, a Teams specialist from Telnyx, who's going to take us through everything you need to know. So if you're ready to learn, let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Andy here, so nice to see you. On today's episode, I thought I'd take a look at Microsoft Teams Voice and specifically Operator Connect. This is a feature that, not too many people are talking about, and I feel that, it's time to give it some airplay. Operator Connect is a great solution for both small, medium, and I suppose large businesses who either A, don't get the Microsoft Teams Voice feature, or they just maybe don't have the skills to have their own infrastructure. So Operator Connect is a whole host of different operators around the world. And today, Simon Verbiest, who's a product specialist with Telnyx, who's one of those operators, is going to spend some time with us and explain exactly what Operator Connect is, how it works, and how you can try it out. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you on board. So bomb that subscribe button, ring that bell up there, and come and join my learning community. And if you've got questions, of course, about this or any of my sessions, as always, get those down below. Now, you may also know that I've got my own Patreon channel. Now, Patreon, of course, gives you access to additional content, member-only content. So I'm talking access to full courses, monthly Zoom calls, questions, Q&A, lots of goodies. Okay, so if you're interested in that and you want to sponsor me, then please go underneath there and you'll find all the details. So I think without any further ado, I think it's about time we jump in and have a look at Operator Connect. So I'm delighted to welcome my very special guest today, Simon Verbiest, who's a Teams integration specialist over there at Telnyx. Now, if you don't know Telnyx, it's Operator Connect, which is, of course, now an important component part of Microsoft Teams. So if you've not got the technical skills to have all the server stuff in your environment, or you don't want to take up the offer of running your phone system with Microsoft, because let's face it, it can be expensive, Operator Connect is a real alternative. So, hey, Simon, great to see you. How are you?
Great, thanks. I'm super excited to be here. And I think you introduced Operator Connect really well. And it's why we're playing in this space. So we're a distributed networking infrastructure provider. Many of the folks who've worked with us in the past have been very technical. And what's really cool about Operator Connect is it's giving regular people with no technical background, as well as their IT teams, the ability to connect to a network like ours for telephony without ever having to write any code or do any fancy configuration.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and when you look, I did mention the likes of direct routing. So, a lot of people out there are probably saying, well, what is the difference between the likes of Operator Connect as opposed to direct routing? What would it mean to me as a company?
Well, it's funny. We were talking about this yesterday with some of the solution providers who are our partners, and we actually think of Operator Connect Operator Connect as version 2 of direct routing. Both of them are what you call bring your own carrier models. In our case with Telnyx, we're a carrier, but you could be working with one of the many other carriers. I think in Operator Connect, as you'll see in a moment, there's over 90 operators out there now. With direct routing, I guess the way we think of this is it's been around a bit longer, and it's great for more complex setups with more legacy infrastructure. So for example, if you had perhaps an analog phone line and you wanted to hook that in, you can probably do that with direct routing. You probably can't do that, certainly not easily, with Operator Connect. So Operator Connect is probably more if you've got a less complicated, less legacy, and especially if you have what we'd call a cloud first approach, Operator Connect is definitely the sweet spot.
Okay. Now, in terms of kind of your target market, who would be your ideal customer here?
Well, we as a provider, we offer both direct routing and Operator Connect. And I think for us, in terms of how we we kind of try to take the approach of you should use what's best for your company. But in terms of the different types of companies that should use it, I would say you are an in-house IT team, a decent number of staff, depending on the version you're using. If you're using Operator Connect, and you've got sort of 10 to 20 plus staff, it might be worth it. If you're less than that, if you're sort of 4 or 5 people, maybe it's just easier to get a Teams calling plan, because you don't want to deal with all the admin, or even just have to think about it. But if on the other end you've got, 300, 600, 1,000 people, Operator Connect could be really good. Some folks say that direct routing, when you're getting north of 1,000, is a better fit. We say that this really depends more on the complexity of the environment. So if you can support 7,000 people with Operator Connect, you probably should. It's certainly going to be easier to configure, and Microsoft is investing more in that. It seems to be investing more in that direction. But we do think, we do understand that for more complicated setups, maybe you've got like an office somewhere that's really obscure in a country that isn't covered by any operator you want to work with. Maybe you do decide that you're going to use direct routing for them.
Okay, cool. And now you mentioned Teams. Are there any specific requirements in terms of licensing?
Ooh, yes. This is a tricky one, and I know that Microsoft licensing is a bit of a dark art,
It
and I
is,
don't
definitely.
want to give any official advice because I'm not Microsoft. We're not Microsoft. What we have seen is you need a Teams user. For most of them, I think it's a Teams phone license.
Okay.
And then I think if you want to do audio conferencing with PSTN, you might need one there. But more importantly, if you don't want to think about a Teams phone license and you're sort of a mid-sized to larger company, so say 500 plus people, if you've got people on E5, Microsoft 365 E5, you don't need to get a Teams phone license. It all comes included as at April 2024.
Okay.
I believe they're changing the licenses.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and that's probably a whole topic for one of your other videos.
Okay, yeah.
But as of now, I believe the E5 comes with it out of the box, and then you just buy the Operator Connect add-on, whatever it is, from the provider themselves.
Now, I do know that Teams, obviously, you've got the likes of small business premium, for example, that comes with a Teams license. You can do voice with that. Just to clarify for the folks that are out there, by the way, typically with Teams, you need there's a per user license, and there's also things like a per device license as well. So Simon was talking there about the likes of per user. So if you have a Teams license in Teams, that normally, unless it's changed, I believe, normally does include the right to put a phone on your desk. So the license does cover the phone. What is a device-based license is the likes of Teams rooms, yes?
Right.
So that, where there's a group of people coming together for meetings and so on. That's what I believe anyway.
I think this could be a topic for another potential
absolutely
discussion.
For a few
I'll definitely
for a few beers in the pub, I think. Okay, so How easy is it to set up then? Is it a complex thing to set up?
I mean, I could.
Because obviously direct routing is a complete nightmare to set up potentially.
Mm,
So when we
uh,
when we come to Operator Connect, is it simple?
I would say so. I could have a go at doing it myself now if you want. And,
Absolutely, that would be awesome. Let's flip over and take a look.
all right. So let's say you are a Teams admin and you've got the Teams admin center open like I do now. You come down to the voice panel on the left and you just click on Operator Connect. And you can see here I don't have any operators. And you can see there's 93 of them to choose from, which can be a bit overwhelming. And then you've got here
Just a
this,
quick question, actually.
yep.
Do you need to, I mean, obviously, if I was in the UK, would I traditionally have to choose like BT or do
Oh,
these operators, are they in different countries, for example?
well, yeah, that's a great question. So you can choose operators based on the countries that they're in. So as of today, for example, we're in 46, but you can actually filter by country if you want to. So let's say, for example, that I want to look in, I don't know. You mentioned the UK. So you could
I
click on
did.
that.
Yeah.
And here you've got several different providers. Um, in this case, there's 31. Or maybe you want to go somewhere a little bit more on the American side of things. So I'm going to try and appeal to your North American customers. Let's say I want to do Canada and I want to do the United States and I don't know, maybe Mexico. So what you do is you just pick those countries on this sort of marketplace, if you will, and then it'll show you a whole list of the operators. So here we've got there's 45 of them to choose from, and then each one they've got a little offer page you can open. So here, for example, if I click on the Telnyx one, and then it takes me to the website that operator has set up. And they'll all have their own pages explaining, how they approach it and how to set up and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Now with Telnex, we like to say it takes 5 minutes. I'd be really interested to see what sort of times people get themselves. But if
All
you,
righty.
yeah, would you like me to show you how it works with us,
Please.
or?
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead,
All
please.
right. So if you just jump into let's just skip ahead a few steps and skip the Telnyx sign up process, which is all it takes a couple of minutes. But you
Yeah.
basically just sign in, email address, all the usual stuff when you're setting up a
Yeah.
cloud-based portal. And then in Telnyx, you come in and you want to buy some phone numbers. Um, so in this case, let's say that I want to get a US number and I want it to have emergency calling because, as you may know, that is a requirement in the United States. You have to support emergency calling on a number there.
Now, I
So,
was, I would, from a Teams admin perspective, folks,
mm,
I would imagine that you'd need to go in and set the emergency locations up first, before you do this, because obviously those emergency numbers need to know where you are. So you would set that up in the locations in the settings area in Microsoft Teams. Okay,
so
cool.
now I'm just going to go ahead and order a couple of numbers from Telnyx. And look, it says I've gone and I've bought the numbers. I now own the numbers under my account. So then the next thing you're going to need to do on the Telnyx side is you would then go to the uh, back to Operator Connect, and you'll pick the operator that you want to work with. So let's say we've picked Telnyx.
Okay.
And so here we're going to tick the United States, and we mentioned Mexico and Canada as countries we wanted to do. How many
Sure.
people? 10? 25?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 25, let's say.
All right, let's go with that.
That's always a
Um,
decent number.
so I'm just going to put in a uh, name here. I'm just using the name of one of our admins.
Yeah,
And
this
I'll
is
just,
just not a real admin, by the way. This is just a demo account.
yeah, exactly. Accept the terms. And then I add them as my operator. And then it's going to take me to the operator's page. Um,
Okay.
and depending on the operators set up, you'll then need to go back to, in our case, you'll go back to the Telnyx portal,
Okay.
and you'll complete the integration on our side. So here we
Okay.
have this under voice, and we
Yeah.
go create integration here, and we've
Yeah.
got a button here that does it.
Okay.
So here it says click to create
And
integration.
I assume that's just taking the connection or it's connecting via the Microsoft account because you're already logged into the Microsoft portal anyway. So I guess you're just basically accepting it. And this is where it's making
Yeah,
that, as you say, a connection and integration.
exactly. So it's a bunch of clicking things, and then here it should be showing. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, it's accepted the
Cool.
integration already. So that's all set.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's been set up on the Telnyx end. And then now all you have to do is go in. You can see there's no phone numbers on it. So then once you've checked that the connection is active on both ends. So in Microsoft, you can see the connection is there. And
Yeah.
then in Telnyx, you can see it's got Operator Connect set up. Then you just go and edit the integration, and then you just add some phone numbers. So here I'm just going to click Add Numbers, and it's going to tell me which numbers I'm actually able to add. And you
Cool.
click I agree. You accept the E911 terms and conditions. So we'll associate a couple of numbers. So you have to make sure that you pick an emergency address. You mentioned earlier you have to set up the Teams emergency addresses in advance, and
Yeah,
we didn't
that's
walk through
right.
that step, but
Yeah.
assume that you've done that. When you actually go to buy the number, you pick the emergency address for MS Teams that you're going to use. So let's say Florida, nice and sunny. And then we'll take a couple of numbers.
Now, just before you click that,
Yep.
I assume I'm right in saying that on the top there, it looks like you can assign it to a user from here as well. So obviously, you can either is it like you can do it one at a time here? You can assign it to per user, or can you can just bring in the numbers and then add the user later?
This is a good question, and actually something we had from some technical specialists we were working with yesterday. So this one is actually related to whether it's going to be going to a person or an app.
Ah, gotcha.
So if you're sending it to a person, then it's a lot of it's to do with the emergency dialing. If it's
Yeah.
associated with a person, you have to have E911. If it's not, you don't need to worry about that. In this case, we're assuming that it's going to be end users that are using it. So we tick user, we fill out everything else, and then we just quickly let's just put a couple of numbers over, and tells me a new charge, one country at a time. Oh, there we go. And now it's saying that some of these numbers are now pending upload. Let's see if they show now real quick. I'll just refresh. Oh, cool. So here you can see if you go under voice and you go phone numbers, you can see the two numbers have come through, and now you can assign them to users.
That seems really simple.
It is.
Yeah. I think you were right about the 5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, of course, there'll be, if you want to get a proper in-depth tutorial, us and other operators will have a much more detailed version where you can go through every single step from
Sure.
scratch. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how incredibly easy it is to get set up.
It is fantastic. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Simon. So what about the likes of security and compliance? I assume this is all bouncing on the back of the Microsoft data centers anyway, is that right?
Oh yeah. So I think it's definitely important to understand with Operator Connect in particular, all of the 90 odd companies that we looked like, they've all been certified by Microsoft as operators in those countries. So Microsoft is ticking a big box saying we trust these providers, that they're secure, that they know what they're doing, that they meet a certain standard of quality. If you want to get really in depth with the security, there's a whole piece around session border controllers, and how those are configured, which are a big focus for people that get folks that get certified as operators, and then they either have to use a third-party SBC, which Microsoft has certified, or make their own and then get that certified by Microsoft. The latter category is what Telnyx is currently completing the process for.
Okay, cool. So if I want to get started, Telnyx is the place to go? Yes?
Yeah, or I mean, even if you want, you can just go into that Operator Connect portal that we showed you and take your pick. We'd like to think we have something special to offer, but at the same time, one of the really amazing things about this program is you barely have to leave the safe and pleasant environment of the Teams admin center.
So if I wasn't going to go with the Operator Connect, is there a direct routing solution? And do providers like yourselves, can you help?
Absolutely. So we do both, and it's something that we're very proud of, is that we support especially IT solutions providers or IT teams with more complex environments. We will be happy to support you either way and make it as easy for you as possible. Or, for example, if you want to start on direct routing and then port your numbers over, we'll make that easy for you too. But yeah, and there definitely are other providers who do both, and we would recommend, trying to work with someone who you can do as many of those different things as possible, just to make your life simple.
All right, absolutely fantastic. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time and coming to talk us about this amazing and awesome technology. It was just kind of, there's a lot of people, we all know Teams, but there's just little bits of the puzzle that you kind of, how does that work and what does that do? So you've really cleared that up for us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Okay.
No worries. It was great to meet you.
You too. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andy.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye. So there you have it, Simon Verbiest, my special guest from Telnyx, telling us all about Operator Connect for Microsoft Teams. Thanks so much, and I really appreciate you joining me, Simon. Really good. Hey, listen, if you want to ask questions, make comments, get them down below. And if you've not subscribed, bump the subscribe button up there, ring the bell, and come and join us. Okay, that's it for this time. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Take care. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy, and while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.